Well, hello everyone, how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge, in particular, a Helldivers survival challenge. I know, it's been forever. It's been like 2 weeks. Think about all the people who have died in that amount of time waiting for a Helldivers video that just didn't come. That's horribly dark. I'm sorry, that's a weird way to start the video. But hey, death is a natural part of life, and when it comes to greet you, you should greet it back like a friend. Except they didn't walk hand in hand to the great beyond, wherever that may be. What was I talking about? Right, so for today's video, we're going to be going over Helldivers. We're going to take a bunch of crazy, awful, existential threats and throw them on into Helldivers, the Helldivers universe, Super Earth itself, and see, can Super Earth survive these awful, terrible, over-the-top, crazy threats? You see the whole death thing, how it kind of looped around to sort of be like a part of the theme of the video? Look at that shit. That's like Stanley Kubrick level shit in this video. Didn't expect that, did you? If you came into this video not knowing anything about Helldivers, you don't know the weapons, you don't know the powers, you don't know any of this stuff, you don't know nothing about this universe, there's not a whole lot I can do to help you about that. The fact of the matter is that I have made several videos all going over different stuff that the Helldivers can do, and you can go check out those videos. But the truth of it is that Arrowhead constantly updates Helldivers and adds new weapons, new abilities, new crazy lore bits pretty much weekly at this point, and it doesn't really matter what I say in this video. You're gonna watch it a couple weeks from now and be like, that's not right, they got all this stuff. So just know that I'm just gonna talk about it as it is right now, and if you watch it and it sounds like I'm missing something or there's some sort of detail that should be here that isn't, probably because it was added later on. It's just kind of the nature of this whole live service constantly adding new shit to your game situation that we've got going on here. But I'm wasting up your time. Let's get started. First up on the chopping block, we have Skynet from the Terminator series. And I should specify Skynet, not Terminators, even though the thumbnail is gonna have a Terminator on it. The main villain of the Terminator series is not a Terminator. A Terminator is just one little bullshit bitchy soldier in the massive amalgam force that is Skynet. What Skynet actually is an automated defense system controlled by an AI that gains self-awareness and then decides to turn on all of humanity, and has the ability to essentially go into anything that has a Cyberdyne system CPU, which in the Terminator universe is basically everything, via the internet, and then control whatever that thing is. In the Terminator universe, this makes it incredibly dangerous because, as I said, literally everything uses a Cyberdyne CPU as well as has some kind of internet access to it. And this is why Skynet is lowest on the list, because even if we completely disregard the whole Cyberdyne system CPU thing and just say it can control any CPU with an internet connection, there's no real evidence that Super Earth has an internet connection across anything, any of its weapons at all. Basically, any weapon, vehicle, tool that you want to use in the Helldivers game has to be manually used. There is zero evidence of any internet function. In the Terminator series, Skynet is capable of taking control of all of the world's nukes and just launches them all. Every single one. He does this because they can all be controlled by a fucking switch with an internet connection, right? That's the whole reason. That's what Judgment Day is. In Helldivers, you can also fire a nuke. But how do you fire the nuke? Well, you have to launch down to the planet, then you have to go to where the nuke is, then you have to manually turn these knobs that unlock the doors, allowing the doors where the nuke is going to launch from to open. Then you have to go to a computer and manually put in the codes and do this little puzzle thing on the computer in order to activate the nuclear launch. If it was controlled via an internet signal, you'd be able to fire it from fucking space. You wouldn't have to send a dude down on the ground to do it. And this is how everything works. This is how the hell bombs work. This is how the fuel systems work. This is how messages are relayed, right? In order to acquire messages from those pods, you actually have to go up to it and physically scan it to acquire the messages and copy it onto your thing. Everything is physical and in person. There's no internet control. There's not even any evidence that the automated turrets and the little drone dog breath thing that follows you around are in any way controlled by an internet connection or an AI. They're just automated. You don't have to have an internet connection for something to be automated. It just has to have an ability to scan and fire using a CPU. That CPU doesn't need to be tied to anything. In fact, it's more likely that it's not tied to anything because it fucking kills you. It literally just scans and shoots at the nearest thing, and it's very often that it shoots through you and shoots through other people on your team. If this was being controlled via an internet signal by someone on the ship, they wouldn't be stupid enough to fucking shoot through you. Time after time after time, no matter what example you bring up, there really isn't a whole lot of examples examples of any internet signals being sent back and forth that Skynet would be able to hack into militarily. Maybe there's some stuff, I'm not going to say that internet doesn't exist in their universe. I'm sure they have, you know, a fucking web browser, but it doesn't appear to be in any way tied to their defense systems or anything military based, which means Skynet will have very limited power in the Helldivers universe. Now, does this mean they won't be able to do anything? No, they might be able to control like a factory somewhere, maybe a couple of factories somewhere. Maybe there's some sort of system in one of these factories where all of the building mechanics and the things that build stuff in the factory are all controlled by an internet signal. I'm sure there's something on the planet it can utilize, but it's not going to be this overbearing force like it was in Terminator, where it ripped literally every single thing their entire military had. Like, after Skynet took over, the only thing the humans had left were just guns and rifles and shit. Like, they had no weapons to fight with because Skynet took all of them because they were all tied into this defense network. Basically, Skynet is super limited in power based on whatever universe you want to put Skynet in. Like, Skynet would be more useful in the Terminator universe than it would be in the Mass Effect universe. And it would be more useful in the Mass Effect universe than it would be in the Helldivers universe. Because Mass Effect is more connected on an internet basis than Helldivers is. Basically, Skynet is a very situational threat to put into any universe. Now, let's say something on Super they do actually get control of because something somewhere internet it exists, right? I don't think they're going to be all that threatening even if that does happen. Like, what really are they going to be able to do? They can create Terminators, but Super Earth has gotten really good at destroying Terminators. There really isn't a whole lot of evidence that Terminators in Terminator are more durable or more powerful than an automaton. We know that they're both made of titanium, but in the Terminator universe, they don't really have guns that can properly destroy the Terminators. And in Helldivers, they do. Even their basic pistols are strong enough to destroy them. So why wouldn't they be strong enough to just destroy the Terminators? This would be really short if they sent back Arnold Schwarzenegger to kill anybody on Super Earth. Because literally any fucking 16-year-old kid with a rifle could just pull it out and shoot the Terminator and kill it in one shot. It would be super casual. And the better Terminators that Skynet has, Skynet doesn't want to build. Like the T-1000, for example. In the comics, it is specifically stated that Skynet stopped making the T-1000 because of how good it was at adapting, and Skynet was terrified that it would eventually do the same thing that Skynet did, become self-aware and disconnect itself from Skynet, basically becoming a new threat that would want to take down Skynet the exact same way that Skynet took down humanity. So they stopped making them, and all the ones that they do have, they put on ice. That's why we've only seen one T-1000 in the entire series. And you could tell from that movie, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, that the T-1000 was much better at relaying emotion and understanding human behavior than the T-800 was. And this is all a part of its ability to adapt to its environment in a way that the other Terminators couldn't do. So Skynet would really just be limited by all of the kind of shittier Terminators not being too scared to make their better Terminators. So really the only option that Skynet would have is to secretly build a time machine, because that's something that they are capable of doing, and then going back in time and trying to basically stop Super Earth from coming into creation, or somehow influencing humans, guiding their society in a direction where Skynet would more easily be able to take over in the future, possibly building up their military in a way where it uses more internet connections and things like that Skynet can actually take over, or possibly manipulating them into building Skynet a few years earlier than they otherwise would have, or incorporating Skynet into their systems in some way, something like that. The problem is, neither of these are going to work. For one, Skynet is horrible at influencing humans. It is constantly shown that they don't understand humans at all, how they behave, or really anything about them. I mean, the entire concept of Terminator, where they're just going to go back in time and kill one dude and suddenly that would stop the entirety of the resistance, is a massive misunderstanding of how humans behave. The truth of the matter is that even if they did kill John Connor, somebody else would have taken his place to lead the resistance against Skynet. That wouldn't have fixed their fucking problem. I mean, like, if you went back in time and killed, I don't know, name a fucking leader of a movement, right? Martin Luther King. If you went back and killed Martin Luther King, do you think the civil rights movement would have never happened? No, at absolute worst, it would have been pushed back a couple years, and he would have been replaced with some other person, because the sentiment of wanting the civil rights movement was in a ton of people across the entire country. That's the way it works. It's kind of the same situation here. There is no one person that Skynet can kill in the past that will alter Super Earth in such a way that Skynet will be able to take control of the planet. Super Earth, before it existed as it is today, was a political party. You can't murder a political party by assassinating one person, because political parties are formed by growing sentiments across an entire country, bare minimum, oftentimes the entire planet. Like, if you wanted to eradicate Democrats or Republicans from the world, there's no one person you can go back and kill, because those parties were created because large groups of people who all felt the same way came together to create it. There might have been someone leading the charge, fine, but if that person's taken out, that doesn't change the sentiments that are there. It just alters when or how it's brought together. So the whole going back in time and killing one person to somehow help themselves gain control in the present, it's a doomed fucking plan from the start. And it wouldn't work in any way against Super Earth, which means they really don't have anything they can do against Super Earth. They can't take over Super Earth with the internet shit because they don't have internet shit, and there's no one they can go back in time to kill, and they can't influence them in the past in order to make it easier for them to take control of shit. So basically, Skynet sucks here. The best they can do is create a couple of drones and robots and shit that might be able to fight back against Super Earth on the planet of Super Earth, but they're going to be wiped out so fucking fast by Super Earth because they're so used to dominating the shit out of the automatons. It's not even going to be a problem. And you can't say they're going to use their internet control abilities to take over the automatons because the automatons have human brains. They're not actually controlled via internet or AI, so there's nothing there for them to control. Same thing with the Illuminates. The Illuminate brain AI supercomputer thing that controls it is an all-powerful AI, and maybe Skynet might in some way be able to control that, but what would that really change? They would now be in control over the Illuminates, and then they're going to use the Illuminates to attack Super Earth. The Illuminates are already trying to attack Super Earth, so what does it matter? Now who's in charge changes, but the goal is the same: wipe out Super Earth. It wouldn't change anything for them. They're just fighting against the same faction that has a new leader now. So yeah, I don't see any out here for Skynet. They're getting fucking destroyed. It's super easy. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, you join the membership, you get exclusive access to videos that nobody else gets. And don't forget to look down below at the pinned comment where you will see a link to the Discord, where we have all different sorts of things like debate streams and tier list streams and art competitions and writing competitions and all kinds of different cool little activities like that, as well as a link to my second channel where I will be posting any non-survival type videos over there. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. That's it. The ad's done. Let's continue on the video. Next up, we have Dracula from Castlevania, the Castlevania series, all the Castlevanias. I cannot stand talking about Castlevania on this channel, and the reason why is, for some fucking reason, I don't know, the entire scaling community just decides to come out of the woodwork and defend this series they've never fucking played, like, to the death, and just adamantly believe it's the most powerful fucking thing in the entire universe, and their arguments are stupid and dumb. And every time I talk about Castlevania, I have like no choice but to fucking engage with these people. I don't want to engage with these people. I just want to make my video, man. I just want to make my video and go, like, you know, get a snack and chill out and enjoy the rest of my day, you know? But I can't. I gotta fucking be here and do this. So this will be great. Let's do it. Fuck it. So the scaling community believes the Castlevania universe is multiversal, super high-end, crazy, like infinite universe, multiversal type stuff. Dracula's multiversal. Literally anyone who's ever defeated Dracula at any point is multiversal. Fucking Chaos is multiversal. God's multiversal. Everybody's multiversal. I don't think there's a single main protagonist of any Castlevania game that is not considered multiversal by the scaling community. It is a load of horse shit. And let's go over why right now before I can actually get into make the video and talk about the things that I want to talk. Are you guys happy? Are you scaling? Are you guys really happy with this? With me having to do this every single time I talk about this fucking series? Okay, so first argument people like to use is the Time Reaper. There is a non-canon, that's a very important factor, non-canon crossover fighting game where there's a character known as the Time Reaper who comes in and he's the villain of the game, and the whole purpose of his existence is to destroy all of the timelines, every single one. And the roster of this particular fighting game are all the protagonists of all the different Castlevania games, and you can beat the game and defeat the Time Reaper with any one of these protagonists. Ergo, all of these protagonists should be equal to the Time Reaper, and when you go back into their other games that are canon, they are still the whole multiversal thing. Even if this game was canon, which again, not canon, but let's just say it was for a second. The entire plot of the game is for the Time Reaper to come in and absorb a bunch of power, and when he gains his full power, he will then destroy all the timelines. He doesn't destroy all the timelines because within the story of the game, you defeat him before he acquires that power. So how the fuck is he multiversal if he doesn't have his full power and you beat him before that? I swear to God, it's like people just read this shit on a wiki or just like saw the final fight or a very quick description description of what the game's about and then just like leaped to this assumption. Like, actually play the game. He doesn't acquire that power. They stop him before he does it. Boom, not multiversal. We don't know how strong he is. He doesn't have any feats. The only thing that's talked about is that he will at some point destroy the multiverse, which he doesn't do, or infinite timelines, which he doesn't do. So yeah, not multiversal. The second argument that people like to use is that Soma Cruz was able to defeat Chaos. Chaos, who is the antithesis of God and this multiversal being that can create infinite universes, and he created Castle Dracula, and Castle Dracula has a bunch of universes contained within it. It's super powerful. Soma Cruz has the soul of Dracula and has the powers of Dracula, so the fact that Soma Cruz can defeat Chaos, that means that Dracula should be able to defeat Chaos, and since Dracula was defeated by all these different protagonists, that means they're all multiversal and they all would scale to Chaos and all that kind of... Again, horse shit. Absolute fucking horse shit. For one, Dracula is nowhere near the strength of Soma Cruz. Like, nowhere near. They specifically say in that game, which I think is Aria of Sorrow, they specifically say in that game that Dracula has never been able to overcome Chaos and never overcome the corruption of Chaos. Soma was the first one to ever do it. But more importantly, Soma Cruz does not defeat Chaos in a fight. I am so sick of this. It's like you motherfuckers read a wiki. It's crazy. The entire plot of the game is not about Soma Cruz defeating Chaos. It is about Soma Cruz, who is a reincarnation of Dracula and has Dracula's soul, and within Dracula's soul is a portion of Chaos's corruption. Soma Cruz has to remove Chaos from the soul of Dracula, and only through doing that can he stop himself from becoming the next Dark Lord, replacing Dracula as his main force of evil on Earth. Because Chaos is not capable of coming down to Earth and doing anything. He has to enact his will through other people. Soma's whole thing is to just purge his soul of Chaos. When he goes into the Chaos realm, he is not fighting Chaos. He is fighting the portion of Chaos that is in his soul. He's purging his soul of Chaos. This is stated directly. It is in the Japanese translations of the game. It's even in the damn achievement when you beat the game. The achievements, it's something like defeating yourself or something like that. He has to go inside of his own soul and remove Chaos. He does not kill Chaos. He does not destroy Chaos permanently. Right after he beats that Chaos portion that's in his soul, there's even this chick that comes out and says that it's just a matter of time before Chaos finds his new Dark Lord, and he hopes that Soma Cruz sticks around so he can help defend the world from the next Dark Lord that's chosen. Again, throughout the whole plot of the game, it is not about Soma defeating Chaos. It is about Soma saving his soul and not becoming the next Dark Lord of Chaos and purging his soul of Chaos. That's the plot of the game. The way he beats Chaos, beats quotations because he doesn't actually beat him, is he goes into his soul, he breaks a couple of gems, which takes down a protection around this core that again is located in his soul, and he just breaks the core by hitting it. He doesn't actually attack Chaos directly. Chaos sends this giant dragon after him and starts shooting all these attacks, and all you can do as Soma is dodge all the attacks while hitting this core. You have to break the core. Breaking the core removes them from your soul. Problem fucking solved. And because things like Castle Dracula and stuff were all tied to Dracula's soul because it was a gift from Chaos, Dracula's castle disappears. Every ounce that was the corrupted version of Dracula goes the fuck away. That's how it works. That's the whole plot of the game. People just like to ignore this shit, okay? And I'm not even gonna bother touching on the bullshit about like Dracula can move Dracula's castle, and Dracula's castle has an infinite universes in it or some shit. So that means Dracula, it's just like a car. Like Dracula's castle is just something that was gifted to Dracula by Chaos. Dracula didn't create it. Dracula doesn't really have any control over it other than piloting the fucking thing around. That's not in any way linked to the power of Dracula. I think it's even crazy that people say that Chaos is equal in power to God in the Castlevania universe simply because it said that Chaos is the antithesis of God. That's like what? Antithesis means opposite, but that doesn't mean they're talking about power. In fact, we know they're not talking about power because Chaos's weakness is holy weapons. Holy weapons are weapons that are created by God. God's power is literally the weakness to Chaos, so how the hell are they equal? God trapped Chaos outside of the main universe. He's in his own little prison dimension, and he can only influence our universe through other people because God already trapped him there. How are they equal in power? They're not. He's the antithesis in his role where he is pure evil and God is pure good. Like, that's a way they're opposite, but it's not power-based. Why would you assume that saying that someone's the opposite, you're talking about power? Is it because you're power scalers and you're trying to make every fucking thing be about power, even though the series is clearly not talking about power in that particular case? Whatever. Fucking people. So having said all that, now to get the actual point of the video, if you take Dracula and you chuck him down to Super Earth, how's he gonna do? Will he be able to release his infinite army to take over the entire world and cause all kinds of problems, all kinds? No, not really. He's gonna die super fucking fast. Dracula's gonna die super fast. All his demons are gonna die super fucking fast. It's gonna be super, super easy to do. The fact of the matter is, and this is something that scalers also like to argue with, although they have literally no evidence otherwise, is that Dracula can be killed by literally any weapon. He's not immune to any form of damage. You could stab him, you could shoot him, all of these things hurt him. I don't know why people think that you need holy weapons in order to hurt him. Holy weapons do more damage, but he's been shown being hurt with fire and different kinds of magics and all different kinds. And you could throw an axe at him and that hurts him, just a regular basic axe. And we know this because characters have killed him who do not have holy weapons. While all of the Belmonts use some variation of the vampire killer whip that is holy and does do more damage to Dracula, there's a ton of people who don't. Grant, for instance, from Castlevania 3, just has like a dagger. He has 2 daggers, he throws axes, and he can throw Molotov cocktails, and that's about it. That's it. That's all his weapons. And he's capable of fighting and harming Dracula. Hector, who defeats Dracula in a fight, does not have any sort of holy weapon. Alucard has multiple different weapons. Some have holy weapons, but many of them don't. A lot of people who have fought and beat Dracula don't have holy weapons. He's been hurt with Molotov cocktails and having axes chucked at him. You can hurt him with normal weapons. And even if you couldn't hurt him with normal weapons, the fact that he can be killed with fire means that if somebody on Super Earth wants to drop a fucking nuke on Castle Dracula, Dracula's gonna be fucking dead. There's no evidence whatsoever that Dracula can survive that. In the actual Castlevania universe, people are using swords and daggers and bows and some little magical attacks here and there. They don't have nukes. They don't have massive explosive bombs. Castle Dracula is not that threatening when you can hit it with weapons of mass destruction. There is zero evidence that Castle Dracula will be able to survive something like that because nothing like that exists in the Castlevania universe. No one has even tried hitting it with a massive weapon. It wasn't possible in any of those games for them to do that. The only game that exists where access to that stuff would even exist is specifically Aria of Sorrow with Soma Cruz. And they never even bring it up because Soma himself doesn't have nuclear weapons. You're telling me that you can hurt Dracula with a Molotov cocktail, but Super Earth wouldn't be able to blow him the fuck up with a nuke? Really? Seriously? That's your argument? That's what you want to stick with? Okay. So yeah, what's gonna happen is really simple. Dracula's gonna show up. He's gonna start summoning all of his demons. We kind of have to give him Hector because he needs Hector to summon his demons. Hector's the one who creates his demons. So we gotta give him Hector and Isaac. So him, Hector, and Isaac, they start creating all the demons. They start flooding the world with demons. They're not gonna be able to flood the world with demons because they're gonna be on them like fucking this. Like the moment a floating castle appears on Super Earth, it's gonna cause some issues with Super Earth. They're not gonna be okay with a fucking random floating castle. They're probably gonna think it's alien in nature or something. They're not gonna know what it is. And then when Dracula comes out and starts using these crazy magical superpowers and demons start showing up, they're just gonna think they're fucking aliens and they're just gonna start shooting them. And guns will be able to kill these demons. Flamethrowers and explosives and plasma weapons and all this shit's gonna work on the demons and kill the demons no problem. They're gonna flood the fucking castle, kill any demon that leaves it, and then blow the fucking castle up with a massive explosive. Boom. Problem solved, Dracula's dead. Now, that won't solve the problem of Dracula reincarnating, and I don't think they'll be able to solve the problem with Dracula reincarnating because that requires magic, which they don't have, so that's kind of a problem. Basically, Dracula's gonna be this thing that's gonna keep coming back every, 20 or so years that they have to deal with again and again and again and again, and yeah, that's not great. But, I mean, who gives a fuck? We see how fast Super Earth is capable of adapting its technology and becoming more advanced. Every time Dracula comes back, Super Earth is going to be far more powerful than it was before, and it's just gonna kind of get to the point where every time he appears, we're like, hey, look, Dracula's back. Blow up the fucking castle. Boom. Done. And it's gonna keep doing that. There's nothing Dracula can do. Nothing. It's fucking over immediately. He has no answer to weapons of mass destruction that can be called down by any basic ass Helldiver. It's done. It's over. Next up on the list, we have the Hiss from Control, and really just the Remedyverse as a whole. This is a weird one. This is a very strange. Okay, all of the villains of the Remedyverse are very odd and conceptual in nature. They're not just like normal things. The Hiss is something that the Remedyverse calls a resonance, which is essentially a maybe living, maybe not living frequency from another universe that can infect our universe in different weird ways, like bending reality and altering physics and really just doing all kind of manner of different crazy things. And in the game of Control, Jesse Faden shows up at this place called the Oldest House, which is a big, weird house that can also manipulate reality and shit. And within the Oldest House, the Hiss is just running rampant. It's infecting people's minds, turning them evil, altering, again, reality and physics, and just doing all kinds of fucked up shit. Now, in that game, the hiss is confined to the oldest house and incapable of spreading because the oldest house is keeping it in there, and Jesse Faden has to go around and basically close off all of the openings that is allowing the hiss to enter their world from this other world, which she's capable of doing because she also has a resonance inside of her body called Polaris that grants her protection from the hiss and is capable of fighting back against it. Super Earth doesn't have an oldest house, and Super Earth doesn't have Polaris. So, how are they going to deal with the hiss, which is basically described as like sound waves or a frequency? It's not a physical thing. The way Jessie describes it, as she's the one who actually named it the hiss, is this strange hissing noise that you can kind of hear in the back of your mind. It doesn't come from anywhere. Like, you can't find the source of this sound. It just is, and covering your ears doesn't make you stop hearing it. When you start to hear the hiss, your mind then becomes lost to the hiss, and you are just controlled by the hiss, and then it mutates you into any number of crazy random fucking creatures, and it starts infecting all of the people that are inside of the oldest house. And again, it manipulates space, and it manipulates reality, and does all kinds of other stuff, but it all comes from this frequency, this sound wave. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think Super Earth can really do anything about this. Like, Super Earth is really good at blowing up all their fucking problems. I just don't think they're gonna be able to blow up a sound wave or a frequency. Like, how do you even do that? That's not possible. And without Polaris, they don't have any way of closing the openings from that other universe to their universe to stop it from spreading. So you just have this sound that is continuously spreading across the world, and everyone's just gonna keep hearing it and then eventually turn into psycho, crazy, superpowered beings and then start killing everyone else. And like, how do you deal with that situation? Like, how it's not possible. In the Remedyverse, the resonances, that would be Polaris and the hiss, are described as not being able to be explained through any normal science or physics. Like, they don't understand it. Science can't explain how these things work. And if science can't explain how it works, it's unreasonable to expect Super Earth to be able to use science to come up with a way of overcoming it. Now, it is true that Super Earth is really, really good at scientific advancement and is capable of creating all kinds of crazy inventions in just a couple of weeks that weren't even close to existing before that can then overcome really crazy obstacles, like the fact that a black hole was flying towards their planet and they were able to create missiles that siphoned off the energy of black holes, which is something they couldn't do just like a week prior to that. They just invented this shit out of nothingness. Very impressive, but that could still be explained and described through, weird pseudo-fiction science. This straight up can't be explained even through strange pseudo-fiction science. So, I'm not saying that Super Earth aren't going to be able to overcome this challenge, but it's very, very, very unlikely. Again, what do you do? The way that I would combat sound is covering your ears, deafening yourself, removing your eardrums, but that doesn't work. I'm out of ideas. I'm not 100% sure even if Super Earth could go into another universe and find something like Polaris that can help them overcome this threat, if Polaris would even want to help Super Earth. They're kinda dicks. Now, you could say that maybe they'll come up with some sort of scientific ability to close the holes into the other universes, since they've already been able to accidentally open up holes to other places, like when they made the Meridia black hole. But the way the hiss get in isn't a normal portal or doorway. It's another one of these things that can't really be explained. It's just an area where you can't walk through. It's just like the hiss is there, and there's like this hiss force, and only Polaris can come and like eliminate. It's weird. Everything in the Remedyverse is weird. It's very cosmic horror and conceptual in nature. I've already said that, but it's very strange. People keep telling me that I put Super Earth against dudes who they just fucking walk all over. Here you go. They have no way of stopping the hiss. The only possible thing that I can say that might save them, or not save them, but prolong their inevitable destruction, is the fact that we don't know how fast the hiss can spread because it's just confined to this one house and the oldest house is keeping it in there. It might take fucking forever for this thing to spread. Maybe it travels at the speed of sound. If it travels at the speed of sound, Super Earth can just bail on the planet, go to a different planet, and it will take literally billions, trillions, quadrillions, octillions of years to actually travel to another planet. Because you'd think if it had the ability to just like open up portals everywhere or openings in reality all across, it wouldn't be confined to the oldest house. It would already be all across the world. But it's not. It's confined to the oldest house. So it must have a starting point and then have to spread, and we don't know the speed of which it spreads. The speed of sound sounds about right because it's like a waveform. It is a sound-based thing, or at least that's the closest thing we can describe it as being. But even then, we know the hiss can defy the laws of physics and reality warp, though it could very easily be sound-based that's traveling faster than sound could. It's hard. It's a fucking weird one. This is a weird one, guys. End of the day, Super Earth can't do shit about this. The hiss is fucking these dudes up. They're controlling them all. The only thing they can do is bail on the planet and run. That's their only options. You can't nuke sound waves. Last up, but certainly not least, we have a coup from Samurai Jack. So, is there anyone watching right now who thinks that Super Earth would be able to defeat a coup? No, right? I mean, we're all on the same page. A coup's gonna fucking destroy here. Like, big time, like massively destroy. A coup is incapable of being damaged by any normal means. The only thing we see in Samurai Jack that's capable of harming him are god beings with crazy weird god magic. Even Jack's sword, which is the only weapon humans have that could possibly harm him, was created by 3 different gods all coming together making it. Even magical items that are not made with this crazy god power are not capable of affecting a coup. He cannot be harmed, affected, or manipulated in any real way. He's just concentrated evil made into a thing. Like, even the Illuminates, if they show up and they try to like mind fuck him with their weird Illuminate technology, how do you mind control a being that doesn't have a fucking brain? It's just like shadow. Can you control the shadow substance? How? Where's the evidence they can do that? Much like the hiss, there is literally nothing Super Earth can do against a coup. He's one of those characters that have so many crazy different little weird magical abilities that you might as well just say he could do anything, because every episode he just reveals some crazy new thing he can do. And Super Earth doesn't have magic. So, I mean, what are they gonna do? Shoot him? Blow him up? Who gives a fuck? What does that matter? Like, it's not, he's literally immune to damage. He will literally arrive on Earth in an instant, make a massive fucking slave army, because he can do that. He can just, like, summon dudes to fight for him, and then just send them across the world to take over the entire planet. Super Earth can fight and die all they want. Won't do anything. They can't hurt him. They can fight to the last man. Wouldn't matter. He's gonna just kill them all. And unlike the hiss, where there's a chance they can just bail on the planet and go somewhere else, it might take a while for the hiss to catch up, Aku can literally just open up planets anywhere in the universe. He does that in Samurai Jack. There's an episode where Aku wants to go and find a bunch of hunters to hunt down and kill, you know, the fucking lion dudes who hunt down Samurai Jack. Yeah, he goes to find them. They're not on Earth. He has to teleport, open up a portal, and travel to a totally different planet somewhere else in the universe, and then get them to come to Earth to hunt Jack. In fact, Samurai Jack is a universe that has space travel and tons of different species and aliens and shit. That's what Earth is in Samurai Jack. After Aku takes over the whole planet, he opens it up to other aliens to be able to come and visit and come back and forth and all that kind of stuff. He opens up the Earth to allow aliens to come over, and it's very heavily implied that Aku actually has control over more planets than just Earth. He's actually in control of several different planets, which is why all these different crazy alien species are on Earth, because he opens up travel between all these different planets. The only real weakness that Aku has is that he's super dumb. He doesn't utilize most of his powers, and he generally makes really poor decisions. Like when he was defeated by Jack, instead of just opening up a portal and sending Jack into the sun or into space or somewhere where he would die immediately, he sent him into the future, his future, so that he would have to fight him again in the future. Like, why did he do that? Why didn't he just open up a portal and toss him into the sun and boom? You could have done that. Every time we see him fight Jack, all he does is transform into different dudes, like giant crab, giant bat, whatever, and then just fights them like with physical abilities. Even though we've seen Aku do all kinds of crazy shit. We've seen him rip people's souls out. We've seen him immediately disintegrate people. We've seen him all do all kinds of stuff. But against Jack, he's just like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna fight this out like a bro. And I was like, why'd you do that, Aku? I feel like you could have killed Jack fucking 1,000 times by now. Why? Explain to me why. But this major weakness isn't even gonna matter against Super Earth because Super Earth doesn't have a way to actually kill him or capture him or do literally anything. He's a magical being that can do crazy, awesome, magical things that's immune to any form of damage. Super Earth's got nothing. They've got absolutely nothing. Even if they get the Illuminate technology to chuck black holes at people and they decide to hit Aku with that black hole, Aku could just teleport out of the fucking black hole. There's nothing. They can't win. Everybody stop bitching. Helldivers have now lost twice in a single video. They've lost before, even though people keep saying that Helldivers never lose. They have lost in several of my videos in the past, but now they have lost twice. It's a 50% loss in this one video. No one can tell me they never lose anymore. Stop it. You're lying. But that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember to join the membership. You get access to videos that no one else gets, which is so cool. And always remember, y'all stay safe out there, you hear?